Hi, this video looks at MOREc8or, an expander for the MOREc8or module from acModules for VCV Rack. MOREc8or is a right-side expander for the MOREc8or module, which lets MOREc8or do more. At the top, we have both manual and CV control of inverting MOREc8or's output. We've routed a clock to the input and set the input type switch to trigger. Now, when we play, the trigger will invert the output from MOREc8or when the clock triggers. The other input type is gate, which means that MOREc8or's output will be inverted as long as the gate is held open. We can demonstrate this using a push module with the gate output routed to MOREc8or. MOREc8or provides independent parameter controls for both the high and low points of the output voltage range. MOREc8or lets you link the two parameters together, allowing you to adjust them both in unison using just the low parameter knob. An example use for this might be to set MOREc8or's output to a specific 2-octave range, and then link the two parameters together, allowing you to adjust where that range sits up or down, but maintaining that 2-octave spacing. Which leads us to another feature of MOREc8or, CV control over the output parameters in MOREc8or, like using an LFO to control the knob. MOREc8or lets you create some really interesting setups with MOREc8or. In this example, we're routing a simple bipolar triangle LFO into MOREc8or. The output side is also quite simple, but creates a very elaborate result. We're using two independent LFOs, each running at their own speed, connected to the output parameters in MOREc8or through MOREc8or. You can see that as the LFOs cycle through their waveform, the output parameters, low and high, separate, merge, invert, overlap, and thus takes the input LFO and converts it into this kind of meandering path. Since the input LFO and the LFOs controlling the output parameters are all set to be bipolar, our meandering path remains in a -5 to +5 volt range. This makes it perfect as a modulation source, and that's exactly how we're going to use it. We're routing it to several locations. First, into the classic VCO and filter to modulate parameters like filter cutoff or waveform shape. We're also taking it into a second instance of MOREc8or. This MOREc8or is transforming that -5 to +5 volt range down to a 2-octave range, between 1 and 3 volts. We'll use this range to pick notes for two different synth setups running through a sample and hold and a quantizer. We'll also use this 1 to 3 volt range as a modulation source for pulses to determine when it'll output a trigger, which will act as a gate for our synths. Though the out-on parameter in pulses seems kind of high, we're actually sending in a very fast clock rate. Combined with our original wandering path, we'll get a nice sequence of triggers. And that's a quick look at MOREc8or.